What's up, y'all? It's so early. It's 2:22. Well, it's not 2:22 anymore. It was 2:22 when I went to hit play on this stream. But it's them hours right now, okay? And if my voice sound crusty, it's because I just got up. I was having a good ass dream too. Y'all, it's been a minute, I know. And it's gonna be like that. You gonna see me when you see me, and when you don't see me, you won't see me. That's really what it's hitting for these days. But I did a stream yesterday over on the prosperity portal, which I haven't been over there in longer than I've been over here, to be honest. But I did this stream yesterday, pretty much talking to Aquarius specifically because, we are the new earth builders. We are the ones that are creating what's next, right? And because our time is now, I feel more importantly, I need to be addressing Aquarius over every other thing that I could be addressing. Now, I only got but so much time here on this phone, so don't get too comfortable because it's gonna be dying soon. But I was looking through my journal. I was looking through my journal yesterday during my meditation, and I was like, wow. First of all, not only did I spend an entire year and some change, to be honest, this was less than a year, but I spent an entire year really just tuned in, right? And every aspect of last year is proof that I was in alignment, because this year's alignment, it's so magnetic. Like everything is just like, yes. Just it's like I'm just pulling things into my reality without even trying though. And so looking through every page of this journal and, realizing the journey that I was on, it just really instills what I'm about to say. If you weren't listening, if you weren't paying attention last year, well, that's your bad. This is your opportunity to pay attention this year, though, because everything that I talked about, everything that I wrote here, everything that I was doing last year, it equates to what I'm experiencing this year. This alignment, this elevation, this level of experience is something that I've never had before, because I was trapped in a cycle. And not being trapped in those cycles anymore, it feels so good, yeah. But like, also, there are some, points where you can feel like, oh my gosh, is this too good to be true? Because I remember when I was trapped in those cycles. It's not, though. It's not too good to be true. And as much as people might have thought I was crazy, I get it. You might have thought I was crazy, but maybe crazy is what we need now, right? A deviation from what the crowd is saying, right? The unpopular beliefs. The disruptors are who everyone's looking up to right now, because we clearly have the answers to elevation, to sustainability. I left last year, and when I say that, I mean every experience that I cried about on live stream, every experience that I processed behind the scenes, because not everything made it to live stream, right? It was a preparation for me. And all I want to do is help you not sit around and look at tarot videos, okay? I want to help you to step into sovereignty. I want to help you to be able to experience what I'm experiencing right now, which is the season of winds. That doesn't mean that there aren't real human emotions and experiences that come along with this very surreal life that I'm living now. There's still responsibilities, there are still priorities. I still have to maintain the balance, right? I still have to maintain the frequency, right? That requires work, it requires effort. You have to maintain. You can't just reach spiritual mastery and be like, oh, okay, that's it. That's all I got to do. No. Once you get to that point, you have to do what you were doing previously to maintain it. You have to continue your ritual practices. You have to continue to pray, meditate, whatever it is, because I know we all have different journeys and different things that we feel are aligned with us. But the point being is you have to maintain. You can't get to a point where you feel like, okay, I got it. I understand I got a rhythm now, and then just lose it. You got to keep that cadence. So, anyway, I want to leave you with a few messages, okay? Um I already pretty much said a lot of what I wanted to say over on Divine or Prosperity Portal uh yesterday for Aquarius, but this is low key a continuation of that message because this really does feel like I'm speaking to the builders. So if you're a world builder in any way, shape, or form, if you're building something that is for the new earth, this is for you. Now, I do want to share first before I pull the cards. Yesterday, I got the Empress card, the Six of Swords card, and I believe I got the Three of Pentacles. I wrote it down, but I'm not about to go and look for it. The point that I'm making, though, those cards that I got was speaking about newness, right? It was speaking about what do you want now? You've overcome the hard parts, right? You've done all the healing aspects, and healing is not linear, obviously. So I'm not saying that there isn't ever going to be a time where you need to revisit some material. There's still going to be a need to maintain, as I just said, but this is a new era for a lot of us, right? For those of us that has been doing the work, for those of us that has an entire journal filled with the work in it, right? Constantly just, learning, growing, experiencing, releasing. This message that I got yesterday for myself on a personal level feels very resonant with a lot of other people because I know I'm not the only one that's building something new, okay? And so what I'm telling you is significant because though I'm a lot of times speaking through lived experience, I'm also speaking through what I'm intuitively feeling others need to hear too, right? Because others are experiencing similar experiences. You're building something new. All of the hard stuff is over. Now what? Who's the people that you're building with? What tools do you need in order to build? What lessons can you use from these previous seasons in this new season where you're building and you're receiving the things that you want to receive? Because while you're receiving and while you're building, you have to also be able to maintain, to sustain whatever it is that you asked the universe for and then it was given to you. See, I got all the things that I asked for last year. All of them. All of them. I'm still kind of shaking in my boots because of that though. Because I'm like, wait, you really brought everything and in the exact form? Um, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I was a little stunned at first, especially the way some of it arrived. It was like, surprise! I'm like, what the what what? All right. And this is for those of you who didn't give up on the love aspect. I'm gonna say this real quick, okay? Real quick. One of the things that I recognize that we lost, I'm gonna say the mainstream society lost is true connection. They forgot how to truly connect and they forgot to really yearn for that depth, right? That sustenance because everything became a performance. Everything became a, you gotta play this part and you gotta say this and you gotta make it sound good and it gotta aesthetically be pleasing. So people got so used to performing and they forgot what it feels like to just be authentic, be genuine, and seek that in others, right? For those of us who didn't, though, I need to tell you that first of all, yes, a lot of people are pretenders, but there are real people out there still. And I know because I'm experiencing it. And it feels so good, yo, to go from experiencing betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, frauds consistently, people who only come into your life to consume. It just feels like you're walking on fucking sunshine when you experience the opposite of that. When you experience people who truly value you, when you experience people who see you, when you experience people who pour into you, not try to extract from you right away, they appreciate your presence without any performative activities, you know? And I say this because there was a period of those experiences that I was having where I almost lost myself. I almost lost that pureness because I was getting so exhausted, so worn out by the constant betrayal, by the constant fakery, by constantly experiencing imposters, you know, people who played the part, some not very well at all, but ultimately they weren't there with a mutual intention. And so, hopefully, by me saying this to you, it gives you a little piece of hope, a little inspiration, especially if you think about how people were acting last year and the year before that, too. It's not all bad. And I feel like the only thing that kept me going is that little piece of optimism that lives within me. Like the whole world around me can be crumbling, but ultimately, I've always had this little spirit inside of me that's like, but what if? Everything seems hopeless, but what if? You just cling to that little piece of hope, that little piece of optimism. What if everything you think you know changes? And how are you going to sustain it when you receive whatever it is that you want to receive? Because me, personally, I'm not fumbling what I got. I'm not fumbling it. I've had a few moments where, and if you've experienced traumatic experiences within personal relationships, whether that was platonic or romantic or even professional, right? that little voice in your head reminds you of the experiences that you had as soon as you see something that feels familiar, something that seems similar to something you experienced previous, right? And you can start to think in your mind, oh no, is this like before? Is this person lying too? Is this all a trick as well? Don't give in to that though. Don't give in to that, because that's just a trick of the mind. And ultimately, the universe is showing you signs, and you just have to pay attention. Okay. So let's see what spirit is even saying, because I got up on here on this live stream for a reason for sure. And I want to see. It feels peaceful though. Whatever it is, it feels peaceful. It feels grounding. Something feels very it just feels harmonious, you know. It feels like something is a breath of fresh air, something is a it's like release, relief. So after a heavy period of I don't know, I'm getting rejection. I picked that up yesterday too as I was streaming. Um, but maybe it's not even rejection, but maybe that's how you're receiving whatever it is that was happening. It feels like rejection, like I'm constantly trying to manifest, because this is who I feel like I'm speaking to, somebody that maybe you don't necessarily use the word manifest, right? But the point is you're trying to shift your reality. So you're constantly trying to shift your reality. You feel like you're doing everything right, but for some reason, look, and this thing just went to it zoned out, and it said the tranquil mind. It zoned out for a minute. You're constantly trying to make something happen, and you feel like everything that you're doing is in alignment with what you're trying to bring into your reality, but for some reason you're not seeing the 3D proof of it. Okay. But what if the challenge is not to wait till you see the 3D proof to show up as you would when you have that thing? What if the challenge is to behave as if you already have that thing? Speak the way that you would speak, show up the way that you would show up, behave the way that you would behave. What activities sustain the reality that you want? Because you can't fumble it when you get it. I don't know. Something about this feels heavily significant. Look, Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It feels heavily significant to, is something that you want to hold in your hands, something that you want to be able to see in the 3D, but there's a disconnect. It's like you're in a dream state right now. And every time you try to pick this thing up, you can't pick it up. It's like it's not real, it's not tangible yet. But what if all it requires to become tangible is for you to believe that it already is and behave as if it already is? Let's see. Let's see. See, this is about listening, being receptive, and being obedient. Like, you got to be able to hear first what's being said, And then you got to receive it. You got to allow it. And for some of you, it's like a seed has been planted and spirit is trying to water it. But as it's being watered, it's like you're rejecting it. You're like, no, this is not it. No. Look, 10 of Wands. It's too hard. It's too hard. Why is it so hard? It's so challenging. Maybe you got to change the narrative. Maybe you got to stop saying it's hard. Maybe you got to stop looking at it from the perspective of it's going to be a challenge. It's going to take too long. It's going to require too much. Because how do you really know? You can't apply. Listen, old keys won't open new doors, right? The old can't live in the new. That includes mindset. That includes how you think, how you speak. It can't come into your new reality. If you're trying to bring all the old struggles into your new reality, that's why the new reality can't fully form, because you're still holding on to those remnants of, but that's when it failed. That's when it crumbled. That's when they lied. That's when they hurt me. You gotta let that go. Ten of Pentacles. Ain't that crazy, yo? 10 of Wands is the release. Releasing what's hard, releasing the old narratives of how it didn't work, how it maybe won't work, releasing all of that, right? To step into the 10 of Pentacles, to receive the 10 of Pentacles. For some of you, it's generational wealth. That's not realistic to everybody, though. Let's be clear. I'm not going to listen. I don't speak unrealistic possibilities if I know that that's not realistic to whoever it is that I'm speaking to. Everybody isn't meant to receive what I'm talking about. At the bottom of that, Ace of Cups. Whoever I'm talking to, you already know. Chariot and the High Priestess with the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands behind this shit. Come on now. You already know what needs to be done. But I feel your greatest challenge right now is your physical environment is not conducive to you being able to truly show up the way you want to. Like there's something in regards to distraction or something in regards to just the environment is not right. Okay, I got it. And I know what that's like. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. So your next step is doing something drastic. You have to do something that forces your reality to change. And when I say that, I'm not saying do anything crazy. Okay. I'm not telling you to go and do something crazy, okay, and irrational in that way. Stay with me now. But you have to do something drastic where there's a great risk behind it, okay? It's to the effect of if you really want change, sometimes you have to force your circumstances to bend to your will. You have to put yourself in a position. I'll give you an example. When I'm feeling so uncomfortable with my environment in the past, instead of me waiting for things to feel okay, you do this choice and you do this, having a solid plan, right? and being able to have the resources to back that plan as well. Instead of me waiting for all that to formulate, a lot of times I would just, I'm out, because I needed that change so bad. So I'm like, man, listen, I'm not sticking around and waiting no longer, because it felt like in my spirit, like I was going to like crack open, like I couldn't take it anymore. And so I would just force my reality to change by forcing it, by doing something risky and putting myself in a situation where you could seemingly say, hey, how do you know if this is actually going to work? How do you know you're going to be okay? I didn't, but I just knew that I was. Like, when you are on a divine mission and you know that you're sticking to the plot, okay, you're not willing to go off and do your own thing for the sake of some self-serving results, right? It's not about you trying to get glorification and all this. You truly are sticking to whatever your divine mission is. Spirit is always there anyway, even when it seems like you're all on your own. Your spiritual allies are still in the midst, and sometimes they're waiting for you to realize that they're there and give them permission to act on your behalf. I'm not talking about prayer in the traditional sense. I'm talking about really calling them in. And this is where your spiritual altar comes into play. This is where showing thanks and acknowledgement to your spiritual allies on a constant ritual basis comes into play. It can't just be in the midst of urgency. It has to be, I am always doing this particular thing to show thanks, to uh, give up an offering, right? And yes, I do feel like that has to be financial. You need to put something on your altar that is a sacrifice. It can't just be, I want to receive something, but you haven't given anything. If all you got is 2 pennies to your name, put 1 penny on the altar. It's the equivalent of what they've been teaching you in church, But instead of giving it to the greedy pastor, you give it to your altar. Anyway, Gemini, ninth house energy, first house energy, Leo. Okay. And I got Sagittarius at the bottom of the deck. Okay. There could be something legally, because on the top of this, I got crime and punishment. On the bottom of this, we got ancient Egypt. Interesting. We're not going to get into past lives right now. This feels, especially with this first house being underneath the ninth house, this feels like some type of identity, because Gemini is crowning this. So this could even be, don't even know how else to say this without sounding uh, cliche, but this feels like someone else trying to play your part. Okay. Someone else wanting to do what you do, but not being able to do it the way you do it. Because there can only be one you. This feels heavily identity coded. It's not mistaken identity, it's someone recognizing you as the prototype. and wanting to be that, wanting to walk in your shoes. So for you, this could be even bigger than, oh, you have to start behaving, as if it already is, because maybe you're even already doing that. But then there still feels to be some type of resistance and at times even turbulence, right? Something that feels outside of your control. And this could be spiritual. This could be spiritual warfare, okay? Something unseen that is going on where you're pushing and somebody else is pulling, or you're pulling and somebody else is pushing, right? There's a resistance that I feel. And this resistance could heavily be focused on something on a bigger scale that you're meant to do, that someone wants to distract you from or prevent you from obtaining. They want you to stay where you are, because if you stay where you are, then you'll never fulfill the prophecy. Mm. I don't know. I will say this because I'm about to wrap this up. If you feel as if you are under attack, well, that's where protection comes in. Use the tools available to you, You don't need to cry wolf. All you need to do is just use the tools available to you. And you have to consistently use them. It's not just a one-time deal, not a one and you're done. No, you have to consistently do something, because it feels as if your calling is much greater. Hierophant energy, right? A master. Okay. But if this is so, you have to recognize that this isn't going to be the only culprit. Isn't going to be the only situation where there is resistance. There are people who are ultimately trying to prevent you from reaching your throne. Wheel of Fortune and the Knight of Cups. Yeah, this, listen, regardless if anyone wants it to be your destiny or not, this is your destiny. Your destiny is to change something in the world, okay? So whatever it is that you do, if it's creatively or if it's tech focused, focus on that. Focus on what you can provide, okay, to others, to add value, to make change in their life. And as you're doing that, the change will come in yours. That's the best advice I can give you. Change somebody else's life. Even if you don't have all the tools, even if you don't have all the pieces, just offer wisdom. Just offer uh, an hour a day or an hour a week dedicating to somebody else, or volunteer somewhere. Do something to pour into someone else. It, in a sense, is the equivalent of what I was just saying when I said if you want something, if you want to receive something, you also have to give something, right? Maybe you don't have money. Maybe all you have is time. So give your time. Okay. All right. Sovereignty. Sovereignty. I'm telling you, that's what it is that you seek. You seek freedom. Freedom of your time, freedom to do what you want to do, freedom financially, sure, because you want to be able to have the experiences that you want to have, and that costs money. I get it. Start where I said though. Give what you can, and I promise you, the same will be given to you. Okay? All right. Bye.